Hey sneaker friends, today we are going to have a look at the Nike Vaporfly 4%. Now I know this one's a little overdue, but this is my favorite running shoe. Are you ready? I purchased the Nike Vaporfly 4% on Nike.com. It was $250. They are on discount now. However, you have to be about a women's 4 or 5 in order to pick up one of the last pairs. Now, I have no idea why they stopped selling these, but it does make me sad. The original colorways were either blue or orange, and this is the blue colorway. I decided to get a women's 8. Now this shoe is built for the marathoner. This has what at the time was the latest, greatest in technology, but now there has been a new shoe, the Alpha Fly and Next Percent shoe, which are the newer versions of this shoe. Now this shoe was built on the last, the MR32, and that's listed directly on Nike's website. Let's start with the outsole. As you can see, you have about 50% outsole coverage. You have a giant chunk in the forefoot, and that rubber lays on top of the midsole. Now, it is about 2 millimeters thick, and it does have this giant 1 millimeter flex groove in the forefoot. I noticed no issues with flexibility, and I didn't really notice much durability issues. Now, this is not meant to be a trail shoe, so it is meant to be on asphalt, pavement, more hard surfaces. In the midfoot area, you have no outsole. You have basically the foam exposed to the ground. Now, it did wear a bit, as you can see, it's quite dirty, but I was impressed actually that it hadn't worn more at this point. You can see the paint scuffing off of the foam in some areas, and that does concern me about water and foam absorbing a little bit of water and getting heavier. Now, in the heel, you do have pods of outsole. Now, you have 4 different pods there. They are inset into midsole, so it's hard to tell how thick they are, but I'm guessing they're about 2 millimeters thick like the forefoot. Now, the hardness of the outsole for the rubber pieces is about 57 short A. Now, the midsole is where the magic happens in this shoe. So in this midsole, you have the Zoom X foam, and you have 2 chunks of the foam. You have one, you can kind of see the parting line right here on the side. That's one chunk under the heel. Then you have the plate that is sandwiched in between there. Now, that's a full-length carbon fiber plate. I did not cut the shoe open to see how thick it is, but I'm guessing it's about 1 millimeter thick. And above the shoe, in just the heel area, you have another layer of the foam, and now that foam transitions into your forefoot foam. So from toe to heel, this is one big piece of foam, and again, it's a Zoom X. Then you have a carbon fiber plate, and then in the heel area, you have another piece of Zoom X foam that goes under the plate. The midsole has a 10 millimeter offset. You have a 31 millimeter heel and a 21 millimeter forefoot, and that equals a total of a 10 millimeter offset heel to toe. I measured the durometer, and again, this is a worn durometer, obviously not a brand new shoe, so it could change over time, over duration of wear. If anything, it would generally get softer, and rubber, sometimes you might see it get harder, but that depends on if you're heat cycling it, like tires for a race car. In this case, usually not. So the midsole foam was actually a 37 short A, was also the measurement of the foam in both pieces. Now, the upper of the shoe is all about comfort and fit, right? It is a fly knit upper with fly wire transitioning to a pretty traditional lacing system. You have a bit of a heel counter built in, but it's very, very light. I'd say the key about the heel is that there is some foam, I'd call it a foam lozenge that's kind of in the heel to lock your heel down. Now, I do think the shoe has pretty great heel lockdown, so it is effective. There's a regular pull tab on the heel. You have, and since it's fly knit, there's no tongue, there's no gusset, there's literally nothing else in the shoe besides a little bit of reinforcer under the laces. Now, again, your lace is connected to the fly wire that you can kind of see there, and there's a little reinforcer to keep all the fly knit and fly wire in place. Now, your tongue, you don't have to worry about any movement or anything because it is part of fly knit. Now, these flat laces do tend to hold their place, but I did find that I needed to double knot them a lot. The fly knit has various patterns in it, as you can see, some bigger holes in the forefoot for breathability, but overall it is a very thin and comfortable upper. It has very much a sock-like fit to it. The sock liner is 3 millimeters of foam with a top cloth on top. Pretty basic, nothing too fancy here. And again, I don't think they actually need it because they're relying on the foam in the shoe. Your Strobel is a 3mm thick foam. It goes full length, heel to toe, and is pretty standard construction. Now, looking at the weights of these shoes, so Nike.com has it right on the website that it's 164 grams for a women's 8. And again, this is a women's 8. And I've been using these for quite some time, and I still measure them anyways. And the right actually weighed in at 166 grams, and the left was 164. For those of you that like it in ounces, that's 5.8 ounces. This is an incredibly light shoe. Now, I have been running in this shoe. I ran 2 half marathons in this shoe and did a lot of my long mileage training in it. I absolutely love the shoe. I can feel from doing half marathons in it prior to doing half marathons with it that my calves and my legs don't have to work quite as hard as they do, especially once you get to the longer. After you get 7 miles, then you get past the 10-mile mark and certainly the 13-mile mark. My legs felt much more fresh in these shoes, and I felt much more confident in them also. So this literally is my top pick for doing half marathons. I hope Nike actually comes back out and remakes this at some point, but like I said, they do have 2 more versions, the Next Percent and then the Alphafly that have come out since this shoe. All right, did you guys try it? Did you throw down the $250 for it? I was a little skeptical, but I absolutely love this shoe, and if I could find another in a women's 8, I would buy it for $250 again today. If you happen to know where a women's 8 is, feel free to DM me, and I would love to get it. All right, let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you have an awesome day. See ya.